What's up, you filthy heretics? How you doing? My name is Asmogan, and I welcome you back to my channel. Today I'll be supplementing the story of Horus Lupercal and the Horus Heresy by addressing one of the most infamous events in the Heresy's timeline, the Dropsite Massacre. So without further ado, on to the lore dump. As we left off in the last episode, Horus Lupercal had been revealed to be a traitor to the Emperor and the Imperium. In response, the Emperor unleashed an overwhelming assault force of Primarchs and their legions against Horus and his only known collaborators at the time, Fulgrim, Mortarion, and Angron. In this force, the Emperor, charged with subduing his rebellious sect, contained the following Primarchs and their legions: Vulcan, Ferrus Manus, Corvus Corax, Lorgar, Conrad Curz, Perturabo, and Alfarius Omegon. An overwhelming force which, by all accounts, could not hope to be matched, if the pieces on the board belonged to who they seemed, that is. The Loyalist force, before they set out to face their traitorous brothers, established a plan of engagement. Rogel Dorn, the Primarch of the Imperial Fists, served as the Emperor's voice for these proceedings. Dorn, however, would not join the assault force as he was charged to remain behind, heading the defenses of the Imperium and its core territories. Therefore, the attack was to be led by Ferrus Manus and his Iron Hands Legion. The plan devised for the siege against the traitors was a two-staged assault. The first stage was an initial attack wave meant to pummel the enemy's defenses and weaken them. The second wave was intended to be a battering ram to finish off the weakened defenses with one swift, crippling push, merging the initial attack wave and the second. The first attack wave consisted of the Iron Hands, Salamanders, and Raven Guard, which would be led by Ferrus Manus. The second wave would consist of the Word Bearers, Iron Warriors, Night Lords, and Alpha Legion. Yep, absolutely no mystery here why who was in what wave. Once the plan was established, the Emperor's punitive force was unleashed onto Isfahan 5. The first wave landed as planned, the vanguard of each legion landing closest to the traitors' entrenched positions, soon to be reinforced by the full might of their primary legion counterparts. The siege of Urgal had begun. The battle waged fiercely between the traitors and loyalists, Astartes killing Astartes, warrior reaving warrior, cousin eviscerating cousin. The assault was, suffice it to say, a bloody one. During the initial battle of the Urgal Depression, it is said that each of the Primarchs, both loyalist and traitor, could easily be discerned amongst the carnage wrought. Angron recklessly cleaving and tearing the loyalists with his dual chain axes, Fulgrim gleefully slashing through the loyalists with a graceful waltz, Ferrus Manus pummeling traitors with his silver hands, and Vulcan cratering his enemies with a mighty warhammer. After some time, the carnage waging upon the battlefield, the sunlight above grew dim as it was eclipsed by the second wave of supposed loyalists. Their drop pods and assault craft raced to the surface to join in the fighting upon the Urgal Depression. Soon the battle would be decided by the plummeting legions of Astartes. The second wave landed securely behind the first's battle lines, and began positioning themselves strategically around the first wave's forces. The Word Bearers and the Night Lords took up the flanks on opposite sides of the first wave loyalists, while the Iron Warriors established barriers and temporary fortifications to the rear, leaving them completely surrounded. Believing the second wave was there to reinforce them, Corax and Vulcan, whose legions had taken the main brunt of the traitor legion's abuse and made up the majority of casualties, began to fall back to the drop site. They were assuming the second wave could relieve them of having to suffer more unnecessary casualties due to battle attrition. However, when they called to their cousins for aid, they were met with an eerie silence from their supposed allies. Once the retreating forces grew close to them, Horus signaled for the trap to be sprung. Without so much as a second's hesitation, the second wave opened fire upon the first. Scores of Salamanders and Raven Guard were gunned down without any semblance of mercy. The Iron Hands were then set upon by the World Eaters, sons of Horus and Death God. Though they stood strong and determined, the Iron Hands could not hope to make up the difference in their numbers. The Loyalists were beyond overwhelmed. Amidst this slaughter, the Primarch of the Iron Hands, Ferrus, began to engage in single combat, with his once closest friend and brother, Fulgrim. The two fought viciously and passionately. It is said that none but a Primarch could hope to follow the fluid strikes and counters in this dance of death, until Ferrus had knocked Fulgrim to his knees. Thinking the battle decided, Ferrus brought down what he thought to be the finishing blow upon his brother. However, Fulgrim unsheathed the chaos-corrupt blade of Slaanesh he had acquired, and empowered by chaos itself, he slashed Ferrus's breastplate and in turn brought him to his knees. In a moment of self-reflection and clarity, Fulgrim realized his folly as he found himself unable to finish his beloved brother off. He understood his betrayal and regretted his actions and choice to wield the evil blade he carried. In this moment, Fulgrim attempted to drop the corrupt blade, but found his grip locked. The same instant, Ferrus reached for his blade, and though Fulgrim tried to stop it, his blade, as if possessed, came slashing down, separating Ferrus's head from his shoulders. The carnage of the Dropsite Massacre continued for some time. The dropships of the first wave were mostly destroyed, and their ships amongst the fleet in orbit were mostly eliminated as well. The chances for survival were well beyond grim for those who stood against the traitorous tide. Miraculously, however, a small number of the loyalists were able to escape Isfan V. Vulcan and his salamanders made a valiant final stand against the traitors, but he was knocked unconscious and taken prisoner by the traitors. Corvus Corax was able to escape on a fleeing loyalist Thunderhawk, though it was quickly shot down by the traitors. Thankfully, the ship crash-landed far away from the traitor forces. Phew, that was a damn mouthful. There are more smaller events that occurred throughout the Dropsite Massacre, however, I want to focus on the most crucial events. I will end this in a nutshell by quoting the fallen War Master himself.
The road to Terra is open. The time has come for us to take the war to the Emperor in his most impregnable fastness. We will make immediate preparations for the invasion of Terra and an assault on the Imperial Palace. Make no mistake, and it will be ours, my brothers. This will be no easy task, for the Emperor and his deluded followers will fight hard to prevent us from interfering with his plans of godhood. Doubtless much blood has yet to be spilled, theirs and our own, but the prize is the galaxy itself. Are you with me?
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. My name is Asmogan, and I look forward to the next In a Nutshell. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more, and remember, for the Imperium, my brothers.